What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I'm using a very strong team. Now I ran this team all weekend long. I got this from Leandrooo on Twitter, and just so happens that Yonkis saw it too, so I went to go comment on his video. Obviously go check out his battles as well. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Yonkis, a great creator, but we both ran the same team. Whiscash, Toxapex, and Tentacruel. Very, very strong if I do say so myself. We face off against a lot of unique teams today. Whimsicott, Lantern Cores, we faced that twice. We also face off against the typical Skarmory, Vigoroth combinations, and a lot of top meta stuff. Now these battles that I did were around the 2700 elo range, so that gives you a gauge of kind of where I'm at this season. But overall I was pretty impressed with this team. Obviously Chargebug could be a bit tough to handle, or double electric so to say, because of how strong they are against the backline, but overall this team was fantastic, so hope you guys enjoy. Alright, getting into the first battle, Whiscash against the lead versus Whimsicott. So we have a swap out into Tentacruel, and we do draw out the Lantern. This is what's beautiful about this team combination, is the Whiscash Tentacruel core will always draw out the Lanterns if they are in the back, and we are running with Sludge Wave, which is essential in order to flip this mid-game matchup, because now I can easily double shield and go for hard switch advantage. Obviously we're going to want the Toxapex against the Whimsicott, because in that situation we'll be able to purely farm down, so then it turns into a 2v1 against their final Pokemon, who will have 2 shields. So we will double shield and go ahead and farm down. We have lots of energy right now, and it looks like it is going to be a Talonflame. Now I messed up right there, and I didn't do 2 poison jabs, which is going to come back to bite me, because I won't be able to get to that Scald in time. So I could have gotten a free Scald right there. I messed up, but now obviously I come in with Whiscash, and this is basically a good game. Even though the Talonflame does have the 1-0 shield advantage, what they cannot do is avoid the Scald, and then eventually they're going to have to swap into Whimsicott right here. So I will be able to get the final shield of this game. We do, I believe that was a debuff right there. They swap into Whimsicott, so I'm going to bank the Scald and now swap into Toxapex here to catch the charge move. Likely going to be Grass Knot, could be Seed Bomb as well. It is going to be the Seed Bomb, doesn't do that much damage, and as you guys can see, Poison Jab is double super effective. Grass Fairy, everyone, and they do decide to surrender, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, Skarmory on the lead. So with Skarmory teams, it is very possible that a backline has a Whiscash, so that's going to be a bit dicey to deal with. But what we want to do is look to go for Scald in this matchup. We're not necessarily looking to bait out the Whiscash with our Tentacruel, so we're just going to go ahead and go for Scald. And then now this is always the toss-up, the flip of the coin. Is it Brave Bird? I decided to no shield, and it was a Brave Bird, so that is very unfortunate. They decide to swap into Whiscash, so I'm going to go ahead and bank the Scald, which is going to be very important later on. And now I'm going to come into Toxapex. And the reason why I decided to come into Toxapex here instead of the Tentacruel is I won't necessarily have to give up a shield in order to get an advantage from my opponent. The Toxapex here versus Vigoroth is obviously a bit tough when we are behind on energy, but we will be able to put a lot of pressure down on shields, and I imagine we might be able to take this to the 2-to-1 shield advantage with us losing switch. So they decided to no shield that first brine, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and no shield this next body slam. Again, I'm trying to get 2-to-1 shield advantage or just maintain switch, so we will look to throw the brine here, but I decided instead at the last second to go for the farm down, thinking I could get it. So this came back to bite me, because I had the initial plan, right, of going for Brian, getting 2-to-1, but I saw how close that health was, and I changed it at the last second. Now we do have Skarmory here versus Tentacruel, which is actually pretty interesting for us. We are resisting Steel Wing. Scald is going to do a great amount of neutral damage, and as you guys can see, we also get the attack debuff. Now I'm obviously very concerned about the potential Brave Bird, so I'm going to go ahead and shield. It was. Final Pokemon is actually a Talonflame. I was anticipating a a Whiscash, right? Which we probably would have saw come in had they had it in the back. But ultimately, the Talonflame matchup right here is a lot better for us. And what I'm going to look to do is always go for 2 Poison Jabs before I throw. I didn't right there. Yeah, I know what the right thing to do is. Sometimes I don't do it in battle. It is what it is. But what we're actually going to see is a standoff right here. I'm going to pause. I am not going to instant swap into Whiscash. I'm going to wait for them to throw, because the optimal play for me is to swap into Whiscash and go for Scald, but instead I force the energy from them with Fly, and then now I swap into Whiscash here to go for the Scald, so a 1-turn pause on my side to bait out the Fly, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. Shadow Steelix on the lead. Very, very positive. We will see a swap out into Vigoroth. So what we're going to do in this situation, before we went in with Toxapex, right, to just start soaking the energy they had built a lot of, what we're going to do here is let a Body Slam go through. We're going to go for Scald, and then we're going to come in with Tentacruel. If this lands or gets a shield, it will determine how we play the mid-game matchup. It lands, so what we're going to do, and we get the attack drop, we're going for the aggressive farm down. Tentacruel right here resisting the counter damage, right, because of our poison typing, and doing a lot of damage with Poison Jab is going to allow us to effectively farm down and have energy on the back end. And remember, Steelix is very weak to water type damage, so we're going to be able to throw back-to-back Scalds against it. That is going to set us up with a shield that we can get and health, or maybe even 2 shields. So let's see what my opponent decides to do. They do decide to come in with Steelix, so we're going to go ahead and go for Scald number 1. And this is Shadow Steelix as well, which means we're going to do quite a bit of damage with Scald. That's like 60% right there, and obviously we are able to get to the next one in time as they tried to go for the farm down, which is perfectly fine, because this gets us that 2-to-1 shield advantage, and we still have switch advantage. So now we're going to come back in with the Whiscash right here. I am anticipating them swapping out, which they do, into Altaria, and now Toxapex can do very well in this matchup because of the bulk that we have, right? We're going to be resisting those Dragon Breaths. We can do a lot of damage with Poison Jab and Sludge Wave. It's not super effective, right? But it's enough, especially in the 1 shield. So what we're going to do is we're going to go double Sludge Wave right here. I don't want to get caught with them no shielding a Brine, because Brine is just such a horrible charge move. It's literally, I would take anything else. I'd take Water Pulse at this point. Before, that used to be a bad one. But what we're going to do here is no shield now. The Altaria is now low enough where a Sludge Wave is going to do a decent amount of damage. We are also low enough where if we do knock out the Altaria, the Steelix isn't going to get a lot of energy. Switch Clock is coming back up. They decided to swap out, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Whiscash right here right away. And then I believe this is going to be the hardest hitting move left in the game. It is going to be Breaking Swipe, so that is unfortunate. I'm going to go ahead and go for 1 extra Mud Shot right there. And I don't think the Altaria is at a Sky Attack just yet. So Mud Bomb, boom, will knock it out. And that is going to be a good battle as they do decide to surrender. Alright, moving to the next one. Stunfisk on the lead. The Pancake right here. Very good matchup. We will see them swap out into Skarmory. And this is kind of the interesting situation where I need to soften up, much like Vigoroth save swap, I need to soften up the Skarmory before I can swap in. Now, I'm coming in with Toxapex in this situation. Like before, when Vigoroth got lots of energy and we have a water poison on both sides, if we're looking to play this mid-game more defensively, we come in with that Toxapex. And we're going to go ahead and no-shield all the charge moves. If they decide to go for Sky Attack, or Brave Bird, I should say, firstly, it's debuffed, right? It's not going to do as much damage. And secondly, we would be able to easily knock out Skarmory. Now, we have to go for Brines here. Sludge Wave is obviously going to be resisted, and Brine unfortunately is not enough to knock out. So we have to kind of play this a bit dicey. I decide to throw, and I throw it at the wrong time, which is unfortunate for me because now I have to give up a shield as it was Brave Bird. I should have thrown it a turn before, that way I didn't have to worry about giving up a shield. So I'm a bit frustrated in the situation right now because, as you can see, this is as bad as it can get, and as good as it can get. It's bad as it can get for me, and it's very good for my opponent. Why? They have 2-to-1 shield advantage when they shouldn't have gotten a shield from me, and they also get to aggressively farm down with the pancake. I mean, look at this thing go. Now they decide to throw energy right here, which is fine. I would have gotten to another brine in a couple of fast moves, and we come in with Whiscash, and thankfully they throw into Whiscash, and I think this was critical for us because Whiscash can easily soak a Mud Bomb. Had they saved that energy later on, we might be in a bit of trouble. Now we do have Buzzwole that decides to swap in, so we're going to utilize our Whiscash's Scald to do a lot of neutral damage, get ourselves a shield, and potentially apply the attack debuff. That 50-50 chance, right? You love to see it. Now, in this matchup, Tentacruel is amazing. We resist Lunge, we resist Superpower, and we do great damage with the Poison Jab. So we are just in a very good position right here. What I need to ensure that I do is that I have a Scald ready to go for the pancake in the back, because again, we are in the 1-to-1 shield scenario. So we're going to go ahead and load up. We go for the Scald here. Buzzwole, even though we've been double debuffed with Lunge, we should be able to knock out, which it does. And then now we have the pancake coming in, and this is obviously super effective damage. So they have to choose, do they shield this or do they shield my Whiscash? They decided to shield that. We get an attack D-drop with Scald as well. Double Scald, incredibly powerful. They overload on energy right here, which is great for them, but unfortunately, I'm going to decide to shield. And now I'm going to swap into Whiscash. Why did I do that? There's kind of two schools of thought. The pancake here with a lot of energy cannot store up 3 charge moves at this point. It has to throw its energy to knock out my Whiscash, which at that point, Tentacruel with Scald wins. Or I get to Mud Bomb and we win that way. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. It's kind of more of a safer bet. All right, next battle, we have Whiscash on the lead, and it's a purified one. So watch out for return. It might be out there. I don't know. But this is a mirror. And what I love about the mirror is the fact that I won coin flip right here on charge attack priority. Now, mind you, if you guys look at my IVs, I had to double check over there. I have a 0 attack Whiscash, which I am surprised I am winning charge attack priority right here. So what this means is if they're both 0 attack and we go for the charge move at the same time, and we're going to be coin flipping that. So it couldn't be theirs, it could be mine, but they don't know that. They don't know that I have 0 attack. They might just assume that I have like 5 or something because they have 0 as well. But they also, I'm confused, it's purified, so it has to have 2 at a minimum, right? Do I have the wrong IVs? Maybe I put up the wrong IVs. That might be the scenario, but either way, we take out the Whiscash. That's really interesting. Okay. Something to think about. Maybe you guys can let me down in the comments. Was it actually charge attack priority there? But anyways, we see Tentacruel come in, and this doesn't surprise me. This team got very popular this weekend. Leandrooo had a great post of him hitting legend with this team. It's got a lot of likes and retweets and stuff, so it became pretty popular. I faced off it against a few times. So what we're going to do here is I'm reading that it is like Toxapex in the back. So what we're going to do is come in with our own Toxapex because I know my Tentacruel can kind of carry this game, because I'm just going to soak all the energy here from their Tentacruel, but they decide to swap out into their own Toxapex. And I go for Brine here, and I instantly realize that is the wrong thing. This is not Scald, right? Scald has a chance to apply the debuff. The Brine is trash. So go for Sludge Wave in the mirror. I'm definitely behind, but thankfully their Tentacruel took a lot of damage from my Whiscash, so I should be able to still edge out of this game with a win. So what we're going to do is we're going to save shields for our own Tentacruel. So we're going to go ahead and let all this energy go down, or all the health go down. I don't care. I'm staying in. I'm just going to keep going Sludge Wave. I'm going to atone for my mistakes of going for a Brine, because I've been conditioned that the other 2 Pokemon get that 50% debuff with Scald. It's just, now if Toxapex had Scald everyone, ooh, it'd be nasty, nasty. But what we're going to do is no shield right here. They might just swap out, so I'm going to counter swap at the same time, but they don't. But now I actually get a good farm down. They are going to be able to hit me with the charge move, but that's fine. Again, hardest hitting move left in the game. You got to take into account that there is a Tentacruel. The Tentacruel Sludge Wave or Scald is going to be hitting a lot harder. So I'm going to go ahead and shield this charge move, which is going to be the Scald. And then we should be able to go for the Scald here. And this is basically a good game, right? We should be able to farm down from this point. The Sludge Wave or Scald is not going to be enough to one-shot us from this health range, so we are just in a very cozy position to aggressively farm down. They do decide to go for the Sludge Wave in this scenario, but I easily survive, and then that is going to be a good game because we can get 2 Scald here against their Toxapex. So a really close back and forth, but obviously I was able to win that because I got switch advantage with a good amount of health still on my Whiscash. So good game to my opponent. Not sure what happened with charge attack priority considering I have a 0 attack Whiscash. Alright, moving to the next one, Shadow Dragonite. Pretty tough to deal with. We're going to go into Tentacruel right away to get ahead on energy. And they swap in Clodsire. And this is bad news bears. Clodsire is extremely tanky, has access to Earthquake, which is going to near one-shot everything. But thankfully, the attack debuff does go through right there. So now I'm in a situation where I could survive an Earthquake. But what I'm going to opt to do, I'm going to push my luck. It is 11-11 when I did these battles. So I'm going to push my luck and go for another Scald, hoping that I get double attack debuff, right? The numbers are aligning right there. If I get double attack debuff, which I do, I should be able to survive an Earthquake. And this is very interesting because the damage that would otherwise one-shot is now not even close. So now we can get ourselves a mess up. I had the Scald. I threw this so hard because I forgot about Stone Edge. I just got lazy as can be. I should have thrown the Scald right away to force the 1-0 shields or switch advantage. This is now a losing game because Dragonite here is able to shred through my Toxapex. I'm forced to throw Brine. I don't know what they have in the back, but obviously if they're staying in with Dragonite, it's something that is strong against Whiscash. So let's see what happens. I let the Dragon Claw go through. We get farm down. I'm going to come in with Whiscash. I have to go for the aggressive farm down right here, and I get it. Final Pokemon is going to be Vigoroth. So this is going to be an uphill battle. What I'm hoping for, obviously, is the attack debuffs. The Clodsire is still in the back with health, so I'm just in a really bad position right here. Again, we could have probably won this game had I forced the 1-0 shield advantage for myself as we look to go for Scald. So I had the right gameplay strategy, I just didn't execute it, right? I got a bit lazy with the energy count and realized that, oh yeah, Stone Edge, couple fast moves before Earthquake, we got caught out. We got caught red-handed like that raccoon in the backyard. They decide to swap into Clodsire. I anticipated this swap, which is why I went for Mud Bomb, but ultimately it is not going to be enough because even though I am able to farm down, I don't have another charge move ready. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. Whimsicott, once again on the lead. Got to swap out right away into Tentacruel. Get that Lantern onto the field. Rinse and repeat. You know what we're doing. This is exactly what this team is built for, is in bad situations, like a Whimsicott, like a Trevenant. Whatever's on the lead, you draw out that Lantern with the Tentacruel and you apply the Sludge Wave damage. Now, if they decide to shield Sludge Wave, that is then a scenario for you to potentially no shield because you can get a great farm down and a lot of energy on Whiscash, excuse me. Because here obviously I'm going to be going for the aggressive farm down, but in a scenario they shield Sludge Wave, I would opt for coming in with Whiscash, loading up on energy, getting a bit low and applying those Scald debuffs, and then letting Toxapex sweep, right? So now we get to see what is in the back. Is it going to be Talonflame? It is, so I'm going to redeem myself and go for double Scald. I learned, you guys saw my first battle, right? I made a mistake. I didn't go double Poison Jab into Incinerate. So this time I do, and look, I make it to the second Scald. This is beautiful. Optimal gameplay right here, if I do say so myself. We now have the 0 shield scenario, and this is going to be a good game. We come in with Whiscash. They're going to load up on energy. If they go for Brave Bird, so be it, but all Talonflames really have Fly nowadays, so we're sitting just fine. They will decide to swap out into Whimsicott, so I'm going to come in with Toxapex, and that seals the deal. Whimsicott, unfortunately, cannot knock out a Toxapex. It has way too much health, and it's only doing neutral damage, so we will be able to fully farm down and go for a Brine against the Talonflame. We still have Scald on Whiscash. This is a good game. Optimal gameplay from me with my fast move timing. I have been working on that. I am terrible with the closer ones, like a 2 to 3, a 1 to 2. I'm bad with those, but I'm good with the 5-turn ones, and you might be laughing. Well, of course you are. It's the easiest ones. Hey, at least I'm working on it, okay? As we do survive the Flame Charge, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right. Moving into the next one, we have Whiscash versus Whiscash on the lead. Similar scenario, we're not swapping out. We're looking to go for Scalds. We'll have to see if we win Charge Attack Priority. I really feel like I put the wrong IVs. I have multiple Whiscash for the Great League, and this is probably the one that isn't the 0 attack one, because we're winning Charge Attack Priority left, right, and center. So this is those IVs are probably wrong. It's probably a higher attack one. Now, I decided to shield Scald right here because I am very concerned that it is Toxapex Tentacruel in the back, as I saw this team a few times during my sets this weekend. And obviously, if it is, you want the Whiscash to be winning this game, right? Or winning the lead, because it's crucial in order to win the overall game. So we're going to go ahead and let this Scald go through. We're playing chicken with this attack debuff. Neither of us are getting it, and I decided to throw Scald, and they swap into Toxapex. So sure enough, I have an inkling, I have a feeling, there's a tinkle in my toes that this is the same team that I am running. A tinkle in my toes. I just threw that out. All right, we're going for Mud Bomb here. We're extremely not debuffing. We did debuff with the Scald. We're dropping that health of Toxapex before we come into the mirror, because what we should be able to do now is have enough energy on this back end in order to go for Brines against the Whiscash, which is going to basically even up the health to counteract the Scald that they caught earlier on their Toxapex. So we're going to go ahead and no shield these charge moves. I want to make sure I have max energy. In fact, I think I even go over 100. Yeah, I did right there. And we're going to go for Brine. I know I said Sludge Wave is better, but I want the aggressive farm down. So I'm going to load up on energy to see what we can do, because now in this situation, I should be able to have 2 Brines ready to go. We can easily tank the Sludge Wave and survive with the fast move farm down, so we go for it. We got max energy. Now Whiscash coming back in has a Mud Bomb, but it's not! It's Tentacruel, and I blind throw the Brine. All hope is not lost. Every damage is needed. I counter swap into Whiscash to force them to bring in theirs. This is going to free up my Tentacruel in the end game, as I do decide to shield the Scald. And now I go for the final Scald against Whiscash. This gets the final shield, and we have a race in front of us. I'm going to look to go for Mud Bomb, but they get to theirs in time. This is okay. Whiscash is on the field. So we're going to come in with Toxapex right now and try to go for Brine to get rid of it. So I'm going to go ahead and load up, go for Brine right here. And now this is such a tough situation to be in. You can tell how frustrated I am because this Whiscash has so much energy. But the Brine basically took it out. I'm excited now. I'm hyped. Let's go. Tentacruel on Tentacruel. Remember, that Brine damage that I blind through is going to come in clutch, because they are just getting to the first Scald right now, and we are basically even on health. But if we look at energy based on health, right? We're even on health, but now I'm ahead because of how much energy I have. So we are able to win this game because, as you guys can see, the switch clock at the top, or not the switch clock, the game timer, 5-minute game timer is coming up. we survive the Sludge Wave, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. We have 2 Pokemon alive, so we win. And that was the final battle. This team overall, a ton of fun to use. Pretty unique, right? Triple water in a meta. I showed you guys how to beat the Whimsicott Lanturns, which is probably going to be a very tough, or a grass and a Lantern, going to be the toughest team that you might face off against. But it's all about that Sludge Wave Tentacruel safe swap. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.